Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live, episode number 624. As you are coming on, please let me know that you can hear me. That'd be really awesome. And when we're coming on, if somebody knows how to get back to all of those nice filters that we used to have, please let me know. The wall behind me is actually white, not yellow. Really, really weird. Let's see if this, I don't know if that's gonna, ooh, that's funny. Maybe that's a bit better. Interesting. No, I'm gonna go up. All right, if you're really listening to this on the audio, that would be weird. Just trying to get my lighting right. Good morning, Chrissy. How are you? I'm going to assume that you can hear me and that you can see me. So let's roll with that assumption. So today, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, oh my goodness, this is episode 625. I'm a week out. Whoops-a-daisy, that would be 625. How exciting. I wanted to talk to you about one of my most favorite ways to get creative. And it was really fun. So the backstory to this, I've been back on my morning walks. Well, I've been back on my morning walks I haven't stopped my morning walks, but powerful morning walks. I've been back at those for probably the last, 3 or 4 months. But this year, so we're in April now. So from about February, I really like to walk outside and listen to an audiobook while I'm walking. The first one that I listened to again was Relentless by Tim Grover, which I loved. And then I listened to the second book after that, that's more recent, called Winning. Love that as well. Didn't love that quite as much as I loved Relentless. Relentless rocked my world when I first read that back in about 2016. And it's all about he's an elite athlete coach. He coached Michael Jordan for 23 years. Sorry, not coached. He was a trainer for Michael Jordan for about 23 years, I believe. And he was just the way that he talks about the way that people are wired for winning and excellence I find it really interesting. And I actually found it really inspiring to know that somebody else was able to kind of articulate how I felt oftentimes when it comes to the way that I am with my work. So, and my kind of obsessiveness that I know I can get about my work and about helping people and about being relentless in my pursuit of not success, but of impact. And success, I suppose, comes as a result of that. So I was listening to that and that's really cool. And then I was with my daughter in Kmart actually, and Brené Brown's Atlas of the Heart was staring at me in the face on the shelf. We were looking at books for her and for my daughter, and I was just like, I haven't listened to that yet. I feel like I'm kind of ready to listen to a new Brené Brown book. So I started listening to Atlas of the Heart, and I'm a huge Brené Brown fan. Been listening to her since I think about 2016 as well, actually. And I really like the way that she articulates communication and the way that we can talk with our loved ones about the shitty first drafts that we have, or the stories that we make up in our heads about different things. And one of the really cool concepts two really cool concepts that I've listened to so far in her book that I really like. The first one is around expectations and managing and communicating what your own expectations are with your partner or colleagues or whomever. And I love the examples that she gives about going on holidays and, stuff like that. But then the second thing that I thought was really interesting was she was able to articulate one of the ways that she taps into her creative process, which I've known for years that it's the same thing that I do, but I didn't have oh my God, of course this is it. So last week, I was lucky enough to fly to New Zealand to play with my teammates. I didn't play. I supported them in their playing in the Rainbow Games. We won gold. So yay! Really exciting. So my half of my team are from Adelaide. Some of them are from Queensland. I had a friend from Mildura come with us as well. And we did really, really great. But what was fascinating was I was sitting on the plane and I was actually really quite bored. I had put a movie on and it was something that I was watching it on the Qantas screen because I didn't want to watch something that I downloaded on my phone, trying to save the battery because since the latest update, my battery on my phone is just actually shit. So probably time for a new one. Sitting on the plane, watching this movie that I was completely disengaged with. And I was just like, right, I've been pondering in the last couple of weeks what new free giveaway, not a free giveaway, that sounds really lame. It sounds like a free giveaway, like a prize, but like a resource or a tool. What's the next resource or tool that I want to create for free to give away for people to get to learn to trust me, like me, all of that kind of stuff that you just give away stuff on your website or whatever, free resources that create really great value. So lead magnets, if you like. So I was like, all right, I don't know what I want to create. Everything feels so boring and just really lame. And so I was on the plane. I'm like, all right, for some reason, I was just like, oh, I could create this thing for free. I know I could create this. And then it was almost like the floodgates blew wide open and I have drafted a list of, I think I tapped out at 33 because we're about to come into land, 33 free resources that I can create and give away that have got, most of them I've been able to draft out, like the 3 steps that come along with it, step 1, step 2, step 3. Some of them I've worked through my problem solution path that I know I've spoken with you about before. And I was like, oh my God, like 33 free resources that I could create and give away. That is awesome. So it was almost like one idea solidified and mapped out, gave rise to the next idea that was like, okay, what we can do this. And then the next idea came and it just started to flow. And it reminded me of when I did the book plan for Into the Spotlight. So I know that I've shown you, let's see if I can show you. Oh, that's my screen. Nick, good job. Hang on. Let's move that out of the way. So my Web of Awesome up over there, I know I've shown you guys that before, but I pretty much came up with that draft of that map, not so colorful and certainly on an A4 piece of paper. It was very not like that because I was on a plane. I was literally sitting in a window seat on the plane, flying over to LA, mapped out Into the Spotlight, had all of the stories, I had all of the themes. I was like, yeah, pumped. I had that same feeling last Wednesday flying to Auckland from Sydney. And I was just like, man, I had missed that feeling of being creative, that feeling of having new ideas, that feeling of just being in a place where there were heaps of distractions, right? Like it wasn't like I couldn't be distracted, but because I was a bit bored and I had no Wi-Fi, so I wasn't able to distract myself with social media or whatever, it was just like bam, 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 bam. So I'm really grateful that I had listened to as much of the book that I had from Brené Brown, Atlas of the Heart, where she talks about this. And it reminded me of how cool it is to be in a place where you can tap into that feeling of creativity and ideas just starting to flow. And I think the big thing for me was I was like, I can't remember if I shared this with you in the last couple of episodes or not. I think maybe in the first episode back, I probably did. So maybe like 623. I think I would have shared with you that I was really scared coming back into work that I was not going to have any new ideas, that I was not going to have a new creative moment ever. Like that, I was worried that I was past it. I was worried that I was done. I was worried that, I knew that I can talk a million miles an hour and I know I can help people and coach people and, mentor and train and pull ideas out of people's heads and stuff. But I was worried that, and this happens reasonably frequently actually, like these self-doubts that kick in. It's like, oh, maybe I'm never going to have another idea again, ever. So it was nice to tap back into that feeling. So here's what I think is really important Number one, it's getting yourself into a space where where you get a bit bored. So one of the things that Brené Brown has said that she did in her book was that she'll put a movie that she's seen, I can't remember, like half a dozen times before maybe, put that on TV. She'll sit like in the couch on the lounge or whatever you call it in your world, or your country. And she'll just have the things there, and then the creative ideas can start to flow. But she tends to be bored before she gets into that. So get yourself bored. I think the other really important thing is making sure that wherever it is that you are, that you put your phone into airplane mode, so that you can't access and distract yourself with social media and like Facebook, Instagram, scrolling, notifications, that sort of thing. Get yourself into a place where it's like, oh my God, I'm really bored. And then I think the next stage of that is doing something else, right? I don't think it works, for me anyway. It doesn't work if I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Snap my fingers, come on, genius, whip through the air and breeze into my brain, please. I think the key here is that you've got to be doing something else. So I also have this happen when I'm walking in the morning on my morning walks, pounding the pavement, listening to the books, and I will just start writing notes in my phone while I'm walking. And maybe being bored is not quite the right answer, but certainly distracted, because it's like while I'm concentrating, the way I imagine it, I'm going to draw you a picture because this is kind of how I visualize this. Hang on a second. You guys know I like to draw you really bad pictures. If you've been hanging around me for any length of time, you know my art. If I see my art on the internet. All right, so there's a really cool face. And it's almost like the way that I kind of imagine, and I can't use my hands properly because my wrist is still broken in two places. So it's almost like the front of my brain is distracted in some way by something else, and then the back of my brain is still ticking along, like it's still processing stuff, it's still thinking, it's got other thoughts going on. Like I might be listening to a book, but I'm also kind of thinking about different things. Sometimes it might be about like really boring things, like what am I going to cook for dinner tonight, or running through my list in my head of the things that I know that are on my planner. I've got my trusty old planner sitting here next to me. I might be running through that, but the front of my head is distracted doing something, and the back of my brain is kind of like ticking over with the other things. So I think that that's a really important state to get yourselves into if you want to be, if you're kind of struggling coming up with different ideas and things like that. So that is actually being on a plane without lots of distractions and without Wi-Fi. As much as I love Wi-Fi on a plane, and it frustrates me if I can't connect, I think that is one of my favorite ways to get creative, as well as obviously on the walks. So that's that. Now, like I was saying, I came up with about 33 different ideas. Be really clear with that, because I created another thing on a plane. I was flying again. I'd been upgraded on a flight to LA. It was my first ever first class trip, and I was just beside myself excited. And I think that was in 2015 or 2016, and I came up with the 54 problem solution free thing that I know I've given away historically before as well. So let me see. It was 34. I came up with 34 things to give away. I just had to go and check up on in my notes. So super exciting. So that's what I would do. If I was you, I would find a way to do that. If you're looking for a way to have this kind of facilitated, if you feel like you want to pull content out of your head and do things like this, well, we have got the hot seat coming up on the Gold Coast in May. And this is literally exactly the kind of stuff that we we do if you are looking for help with actually pulling these ideas out of your brain. If you're not quite sure whether the ideas are valid, if you're not quite sure what to do, if you don't have the ability to just jump on a plane and get yourself distracted, then get to this hot seat, get yourself distracted and help it. Have this stuff facilitated. I think that's something that's really powerful about being in a room with other people, is that you can bounce your ideas off each other as well. All my friends and peers in business are not in Mildura. They don't live here. So I don't have that luxury of just going, oh, we're just going to go and hang out with my mate, my business mate. So come out and hang out with us if you're not quite sure how to do all of this. Or if there's something else you want to do, let me know, and we will absolutely talk about that. All right, my friends, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a most excellent Tuesday. This is episode number 625 of the Coffee Run, and I can't wait to see you next Tuesday morning. Same time, same station, same replay channels for episode 626. Let me see if I haven't got a note yet on what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it will be something fabulous. All right, team, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Remember, the world is ready for your brand of awesome.